Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment you're faced with a situation where someone is trying to provoke you, to manipulate you, to bring you down. What's your first instinct? To react, to fight back, to prove your point, to defend yourself. It's a natural impulse, but what if I told you that your true strength lies not in your ability to react, but in your ability to cut them off silently, without a word, without an argument? In a world obsessed with instant gratification, where everyone is quick to speak their mind, the power of silence is often underestimated. The question is, what if your silence could speak volumes? What if, by mastering the art of not reacting, you could reclaim control over your life, your peace, and your future? I want to explore something critical to your personal power. It's not enough to just avoid conflict, it's about cutting it off at the root before it grows. And in this talk, I'll show you how silence, boundaries, and emotional control are the keys to taking back your life. But to do that, you must understand this crucial truth: the strongest people are often the quietest, and the most powerful decisions are made in the spaces between words. Stay with me as we dive into how mastering your response or choosing not to react will shape your destiny. One of the most powerful tools you can wield is emotional control. It is something that many people underestimate, yet it defines the way you experience your life, how you deal with stress, and how you respond to the world around you. Emotional control is not about repressing your emotions or pretending that you don't feel anger, frustration, or sadness. Rather, it's about choosing how you respond to those emotions, whether or not you allow them to take over, and how you channel them in a way that serves your best interests. In a world filled with chaos, noise, and constant stimulation, we are often bombarded by things that can trigger an emotional response. From a simple disagreement with a friend or family member to a serious professional conflict, we are constantly faced with situations where our emotions could take control. But here's the thing: if you let your emotions dictate your actions, you lose your power. This is where emotional control becomes crucial. When you react out of emotion, whether it's anger, fear, frustration, or even excitement, you're allowing the outside world to control your inner state. You're reacting in a way that's driven by external stimuli, rather than being in charge of your own responses. This is what happens when we react impulsively. We become slaves to our immediate feelings, unable to think clearly, and often regretting our actions later. We may say things in anger that we don't truly mean, or do things out of fear or frustration that we wouldn't normally do if we took a step back and assessed the situation. The real danger lies in the fact that once those reactions are out there, you can't take them back. Words spoken in anger, actions taken out of frustration, can cause irreversible damage to relationships, to your reputation, and to your own sense of self-respect. Emotional control gives you the ability to rise above the petty provocations of everyday life. It's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about understanding them, acknowledging them, and then making a conscious decision to not let them dictate your behavior. Instead of lashing out or reacting impulsively, emotional control allows you to pause, breathe, and choose the best course of action for the long term. Emotional control means that when someone insults you, belittles you, or tries to provoke you, you don't automatically react. Instead of snapping back or engaging in an argument, you take a moment to think about the situation, the person, and what your response should really be. It means that you're able to stay calm and collected, even in the face of adversity. This doesn't mean that you don't feel the emotion. It's natural to feel anger or frustration when someone attacks you or when things don't go your way. What matters is what you choose to do with that emotion. Do you let it overwhelm you, or do you allow it to pass without acting on it? Emotional control also involves understanding the deeper reasons behind your emotions. Often our emotional reactions are a result of unmet needs, insecurities, or old wounds. When someone criticizes you, for example, you might feel a surge of defensiveness. That defensive reaction might not be about the person or the criticism itself, but rather about an old belief you hold about yourself, that you're not good enough, that you need approval from others, or that criticism is a sign of failure. In those moments, emotional control means recognizing that your reaction may be tied to something deeper, something unrelated to the current situation. When you realize that, you can choose not to let your past insecurities control your present behavior. Emotional control allows you to maintain your dignity in situations where others may try to provoke you. It's easy to fall into the trap of defending yourself when someone challenges you, but remember this: by reacting, you're engaging with that person's negativity. You're giving them power over your emotional state, and as long as you allow them to do so, you're not in control of the situation. When you don't react, when you keep your emotions in check, you remain in control. The true power lies in your ability to walk away from conflict, to stay composed in the face of disrespect, and to not let others define your emotional landscape. It's also important to note that emotional control doesn't mean you never express your feelings. It doesn't mean you suppress your anger, sadness, or frustration. It means that you channel those emotions in a way that's constructive rather than destructive. It means that when you feel angry, for example, you don't lash out impulsively, but you take time to process that anger and then express it in a way that's healthy, whether through self-reflection, journaling, or calm communication. Emotional control is not about pretending you don't feel. It's about managing those feelings in a way that keeps you grounded and centered. Mastering emotional control is one of the most important skills you can develop. It's a skill that will help you navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. It will help you build better relationships, make better decisions, and ultimately lead a more peaceful and fulfilling life. The more you practice emotional control, the stronger you become. And the more you become in control of your own reactions, the less you allow the outside world to disturb your inner peace. Take a moment to think about how you respond to situations today. Do you let your emotions run wild? Or are you in control of your reactions? Emotional control is your key to unlocking your full potential. It's the foundation for everything else in life. When you master it, you no longer allow the world to dictate how you feel. Instead, you become the master of your own emotional state, and that is where true freedom lies. Silence is often misunderstood in today's world. It is frequently seen as a sign of weakness or indifference. People believe that in order to be heard, you must always speak, to assert yourself, to defend your position, or to make sure your voice is not drowned out. But the truth is, silence is one of the most powerful tools you can wield, and the most successful people in the world understand this principle. Silence is not about retreating, being passive, or avoiding conflict. It is a conscious decision to not engage in negativity, to not lower yourself to the level of conflict, and to protect your peace. In the face of insult, aggression, or manipulation, we have two options: to react or to remain silent. Our natural instinct may often be to speak, to lash out, to prove that we are right, or to defend our reputation. But in doing so, we feed into the drama, and in the process, we lose control. When we engage, we give our energy away to someone or something that does not deserve it. Silence, on the other hand, is a choice that allows you to keep your power. It sends a clear message that you are not interested in getting caught up in the noise. It demonstrates that your emotional state, your peace of mind, and your dignity are more important than winning an argument or proving a point. Imagine a situation where someone is trying to provoke you. Maybe they insult you, question your abilities, or make a cruel remark. The instinct is to react, to defend, to show that you will not stand for such treatment. But what would happen if, instead of responding with words, you simply remain silent? The first few moments of silence might feel uncomfortable, even awkward. But this silence can be transformative. It gives you space to gather your thoughts, to reflect on what really matters, and to decide whether or not this is a battle worth fighting. By choosing silence, you also choose not to engage in the negative energy that the other person is trying to draw you into. Often, people who provoke others are doing so not because they want a solution or an honest exchange of ideas, but because they want to create chaos, to stir emotions, or to manipulate a situation. When you remain silent, you rob them of their power. They cannot provoke you, they cannot make you react, and they cannot drag you into their turmoil. In essence, you take away their control over your emotions. There is strength in silence because it signals that you are in control. You are not reacting impulsively. You are not allowing your emotions to dictate your actions. In those moments, you are choosing a higher path, one of emotional maturity and self-respect. Instead of engaging in a battle of words that may only escalate the situation, you are sending the message that you are above such petty conflicts. Silence does not mean you are afraid or weak. On the contrary, It shows that you are strong enough to walk away from pointless arguments and to remain composed in the face of adversity. Silence also provides the opportunity for introspection. In the midst of a confrontation or a moment of tension, it is easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, to react before thinking things through. But by choosing silence, you create the space needed to reflect on the situation, to evaluate whether your response aligns with your values and goals. It allows you to separate yourself from the immediate emotional reaction and to think more clearly about how you want to proceed. This space helps you avoid saying or doing something in the heat of the moment that you might regret later. Silence is a tool for self-preservation. We often engage in arguments or conflicts because we feel the need to defend our honor, our reputation, or our beliefs. But constantly defending ourselves can be exhausting. The emotional toll of always having to prove your worth, to justify your actions, or to convince others of your point of view can drain your energy and cloud your judgment. Silence, on the other hand, provides relief from this burden. By not engaging in every battle, you conserve your emotional energy and you focus on what truly matters: your growth, your relationships, and your well-being. And in relationships, whether personal or professional, silence can be an incredibly effective way of setting boundaries. People may try to provoke you, criticize you, or draw you into drama, but by remaining silent, you communicate that you will not tolerate this behavior. Silence is a powerful way of saying that you are not going to lower yourself to engage in conflict, and you will not allow others to disrespect you. This approach may take time for others to understand, but ultimately it teaches people to respect your boundaries and your peace of mind. Silence is often the most profound response to negativity. In an age where everyone is eager to voice their opinions and engage in constant debate, silence can have a greater impact than any words could. When someone is trying to draw you into a fight, your refusal to engage often leaves them with nothing to react to. It may confuse them at first, but over time they come to realize that their words have no effect on you. You are not dependent on their validation, their approval, or their opinions. Your silence communicates a deep sense of self-assurance, an understanding that your worth is not contingent on the approval of others. There is immense power in choosing not to react. In a world where so many people thrive on conflict, chaos, and drama, your silence allows you to rise above it all. It's a sign that you are no longer willing to invest your energy in things that don't serve you. When you master the art of silence, you not only preserve your peace, but you also take control of your life. You begin to understand that silence, far from being a sign of weakness, is actually a powerful and deliberate choice to focus on what truly matters: your emotional well-being, your growth, and your peace of mind. And in that silence, you will find the strength to cut off negativity and reclaim control of your life. Setting boundaries is one of the most essential aspects of maintaining emotional health, protecting your peace, and fostering positive relationships. Boundaries are not just about telling others what they can or cannot do. They are about recognizing your worth, understanding what you need to feel safe, respected, and valued, and then taking proactive steps to protect those needs. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear rejection, confrontation, or even the breakdown of relationships. They may worry that if they assert themselves, they'll be seen as difficult, selfish, or unkind. But the truth is, setting boundaries is one of the most loving and empowering things you can do, not only for yourself, but also for the people in your life. When you establish boundaries, you are creating a framework for healthy interaction. Boundaries tell others how you expect to be treated and what behavior is acceptable. This is crucial because without boundaries, people may unknowingly cross lines, take advantage of you, or place demands on you that you are not comfortable with. This can lead to resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-respect. By setting clear, firm boundaries, you communicate that you value yourself and your time, and that you are not willing to tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or toxic behavior. Boundaries are also about understanding that you are not responsible for the actions, thoughts, or feelings of others. When you are constantly trying to meet the expectations of everyone around you, you lose sight of your own needs. This is a slippery slope that can lead to feelings of frustration, anxiety, and exhaustion. People who struggle with boundary setting often feel like they have to say yes to everything, even when they don't want to, in order to maintain relationships or avoid conflict. But this is a harmful pattern that can eventually take a toll on your emotional and physical well-being. Setting boundaries means acknowledging that you have the right to say no when something doesn't align with your values or when it simply doesn't feel right for you. This can be difficult, especially in relationships where you've been accustomed to putting others' needs before your own. But the truth is, healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and that respect cannot exist without boundaries. When you don't set boundaries, you are inadvertently allowing others to control how you feel, how you spend your time, and what you prioritize. The more you allow others to make decisions for you, the more you lose control over your life. By setting clear boundaries, you take back control of your energy, your time, and your decisions. You begin to protect yourself from the toxicity that others may try to impose, and you create space for people who treat you with the respect you deserve. One of the most important aspects of boundary setting is learning to say no without guilt. Many people feel guilty when they say no to requests, invitations, or demands. They may fear disappointing others, being seen as selfish, or causing conflict. But saying no is not a rejection of the other person, it's a way of saying yes to yourself. When you say no to something that doesn't align with your values or doesn't serve you, you are affirming your right to make choices that protect your well-being. Learning to say no is a powerful act of self-respect and emotional self-care. It allows you to conserve your energy for things that truly matter and for people who genuinely value your time and presence. Setting boundaries also means that you have the courage to remove yourself from situations or relationships that are no longer serving you. This can be one of the most difficult aspects of boundary setting, especially when it comes to cutting ties with toxic people. Toxic relationships, whether they are friendships, family dynamics, or professional interactions, can slowly erode your sense of self-worth and contribute to long-term emotional damage. People in these relationships may manipulate you, belittle you, or continuously demand more than you can give. In these situations, boundaries are not enough. Sometimes you need to walk away. Cutting someone off is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. It is an act of self-preservation, a decision to prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical health over a relationship that is dragging you down. By removing yourself from toxic people and environments, you are making space for healthier relationships. You are showing yourself the respect that you deserve, and you are teaching others how to treat you. This may be uncomfortable at first, but the peace and clarity you gain by protecting yourself from negativity are worth it. In fact, when you cut off toxic influences, you open up room for people who truly appreciate you, who support your growth, and who bring positivity into your life. Setting boundaries means recognizing that it is okay to take up space in the world. So many people, especially those who have been conditioned to prioritize others, feel like they should shrink themselves to fit in or to avoid making waves. But setting boundaries is a declaration that you deserve to take up space, to express your needs, and to live a life that is aligned with your values. It is about accepting that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness, and that you do not need to apologize for wanting these things. Setting boundaries may require consistent effort and courage, especially if you've been used to ignoring your own needs for the sake of others. But the more you practice boundary setting, the easier it becomes. And over time, you will start to notice that you feel more grounded, more at peace, and more in control of your life. Boundaries protect your energy, preserve your emotional health, and ensure that you are investing in relationships that are nurturing and supportive, not draining and toxic. When you prioritize your own well-being and take responsibility for setting and maintaining boundaries, you open the door to personal growth, healthy relationships, and a life filled with greater peace and fulfillment. And in this process, you teach others how to treat you, creating a ripple effect of respect and mutual care that will elevate all of your relationships. Setting boundaries is not just an act of self-love, it is also an act of empowerment. It is the key to reclaiming your life, your peace, and your personal strength. Mastering the art of letting go is a crucial and transformative process in our journey toward emotional maturity and personal growth. In life, we accumulate a vast array of attachments, relationships, expectations, material possessions, and even past experiences. These attachments often define us, and we may feel like we cannot move forward without them. However, the truth is that holding on to things, people, or even emotional baggage that no longer serves us only weighs us down. Letting go is not about losing something important. It is about freeing ourselves from unnecessary burdens so that we can grow, evolve, and ultimately lead more fulfilling lives. Letting go is not always an easy process, especially when it involves relationships or situations that have been a significant part of our lives. We may feel guilt, sadness, or fear at the thought of severing ties with someone or something that once held value to us. However, it is crucial to understand that holding on to toxic relationships or unhealthy attachments can stunt our personal growth. When we keep ourselves bound to the past, we are not allowing ourselves the freedom to create a better future. Whether it's an unhealthy relationship, a past mistake, or an outdated belief, clinging to these things prevents us from moving forward and embracing the opportunities that lie ahead. The key to letting go is recognizing that our worth is not tied to the things we hold on to. Often we confuse our identity with the people, possessions, or past experiences that we attach ourselves to. When we face the need to let go, it can feel like we are losing a part of ourselves, but the reality is that we are not losing anything. We are simply shedding the layers of what no longer serves our higher self. We are creating space for new opportunities, growth, and experiences that will contribute to our evolution as individuals. It's also important to acknowledge that letting go involves not only releasing things, but also releasing control. We often hold on to situations because we think we can control the outcome, or we fear that if we let go, we will lose something valuable. However, the act of letting go is a profound acknowledgement that we cannot control everything in life. Control is an illusion, life is unpredictable, and clinging to the desire to control outcomes only leads to frustration and disappointment. Letting go allows us to surrender to the flow of life, to trust that things will unfold as they are meant to, and to embrace the present moment without the weight of expectation. One of the most significant aspects of letting go is forgiveness. Holding on to past grievances, resentment, or anger is like carrying a heavy burden on your shoulders. These emotions drain our energy, limit our potential, and often hold us hostage in the past. Forgiving others, and perhaps most importantly, forgiving ourselves, is an act of liberation. It does not mean that we condone the actions of others, but it means that we choose not to carry the emotional weight of those actions any longer. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the chains of bitterness and resentment, and we free ourselves to move forward with a lighter heart. Letting go also requires us to confront our fears and insecurities. Often we hold on to people or situations because we fear the unknown. We fear that if we let go, we won't find something better, or that we will be alone, unsupported, or unfulfilled. These fears are natural, but they are also limiting. They keep us stuck in situations that are no longer serving us, preventing us from stepping into the unknown and trusting that the universe will provide. It is only when we let go of our need for control and surrender to the uncertainty of life that we create the space for new possibilities to emerge. Letting go can sometimes mean letting go of someone you love. This is perhaps one of the most painful experiences, but it is often necessary for both people to grow. Not all relationships are meant to last forever. People change, and sometimes the dynamics that once brought you closer may no longer be healthy or nurturing. Letting go of a person who is no longer aligned with your values or who brings more harm than good is an act of self-respect. It is a way of honoring yourself and your journey, even when it feels heartbreaking. By letting go of relationships that no longer serve you, you make room for new, healthier connections that are better suited to the person you are becoming. Letting go of material possessions or external markers of success can be an important part of the process. We often define ourselves by the things we own, the car we drive, the clothes we wear, the house we live in, but these external markers are not what truly define us. Letting go of material possessions is a way of reconnecting with who we truly are at our core, without the need for validation from outside sources. It allows us to focus on what truly matters: our inner peace, our values, our relationships, and our personal growth. In a world that often values material wealth and external success, letting go of the need to keep up with others or to hold on to possessions for the sake of status can be incredibly freeing. Letting go also involves the practice of self-compassion. Often we hold on to the past because we haven't fully processed our emotions or experiences. We may feel guilt or shame about our past mistakes, or we may be afraid of letting go because it means confronting the hurt that we have buried. In these cases, letting go requires us to be kind to ourselves. It means giving ourselves permission to heal, to forgive, and to move on without judgment. It is about embracing our imperfections and recognizing that we are all worthy of love and growth, regardless of our past. Letting go is an act of trust. It's trusting that life will unfold as it is meant to, even if we can't see the bigger picture. It's trusting that by releasing what no longer serves us, we are creating space for something better to come into our lives. It's trusting that when we surrender control and let go of our attachments, we allow ourselves the freedom to experience life more fully, to be present in the moment, and to embrace the endless possibilities that await us. In letting go, we find freedom. Freedom to grow, to evolve, and to live a life that is truly aligned with who we are and who we want to become. It is one of the most powerful acts of self-love and empowerment that we can practice. The concept of self-respect is something that often gets overlooked in the chaos of daily life. Many people mistakenly believe that self-respect is tied to external achievements, recognition, or the approval of others. We live in a world where we are constantly seeking validation from others, whether it's from our families, our colleagues, or society at large. But the truth is, true self-respect comes from within. It is the ability to honor and value yourself, to recognize your worth, and to act in accordance with your values and principles, regardless of what others may think or say. Self-respect is not about arrogance or superiority. It's about maintaining a healthy sense of your own dignity and understanding that you deserve to be treated with kindness, fairness, and consideration. This means setting boundaries, saying no when necessary, and not allowing others to take advantage of you or diminish your worth. It's about treating yourself with the same love and care that you would give to someone you deeply respect and care for. It is crucial to understand that when we compromise our own values to please others or seek external approval, we undermine our own sense of worth and erode our self-respect. One of the most important aspects of self-respect is being able to say no when something doesn't align with your values or your personal boundaries. Too often, people feel obligated to say yes to everything, whether it's at work, in their personal relationships, or in social settings, because they fear rejection or conflict. But saying yes when you really mean no is a form of self-betrayal. It's an act of disrespecting your own time, energy, and emotional well-being. When you say yes out of obligation, you are giving away parts of yourself and diminishing your ability to show up authentically. By learning to say no without guilt, you demonstrate a deep respect for your own needs and a commitment to protecting your peace. Self-respect also involves standing up for yourself when necessary. This doesn't mean being combative or defensive, but rather having the courage to assert your needs and express your opinions without fear of judgment or reprisal. When we don't stand up for ourselves, we allow others to take advantage of us or impose their will on us. This leads to resentment and a feeling of powerlessness. On the other hand, when we assert our boundaries, we communicate to others that we value ourselves enough to speak up when something isn't right. This is not only empowering for us, but it also teaches others how to treat us. People are more likely to respect us when we show them that we respect ourselves. Self-respect requires us to be honest with ourselves. This means being truthful about who we are, what we want, and what we are willing to tolerate. It's about taking the time to reflect on our actions, our choices, and our motivations. Are we living in alignment with our values? Are we making choices that support our well-being and personal growth? Self-respect means being accountable for our decisions and recognizing when we are not living up to our own standards. It means having the courage to admit when we've made mistakes, to forgive ourselves, and to make necessary changes to improve our lives. The relationship we have with ourselves sets the tone for every other relationship in our lives. If we don't respect ourselves, it's difficult to demand respect from others. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from the outside world, but the truth is that no one else can give you the respect and validation you need unless you first give it to yourself. When we cultivate self-respect, we create a strong foundation for healthy relationships, both with ourselves and with others. We are less likely to tolerate toxic behavior or allow ourselves to be treated in ways that diminish our worth. By respecting ourselves, we raise our standards and invite others to do the same. Self-respect is also about taking responsibility for our own lives. This means acknowledging that we are the architects of our own destiny. and that we have the power to make choices that shape our future. Too often, people fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances or other people for their unhappiness or lack of success. But the truth is, we are in control of our own lives. We have the ability to choose how we react to situations, how we approach challenges, and how we invest our time and energy. When we take ownership of our lives, we show ourselves the respect that we deserve. We stop waiting for external validation or permission, and we begin to make decisions that reflect our true desires and aspirations. This sense of responsibility extends to how we care for ourselves. Self-respect means prioritizing our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It means taking the time to nurture ourselves, to rest when we're tired, to nourish our bodies with healthy food, and to seek support when we need it. It's about recognizing that we are deserving of care and attention, and not waiting for someone else to provide it for us. When we respect ourselves, we honor our bodies and minds, and we take proactive steps to ensure that we are living in a way that supports our overall health and happiness. Another key aspect of self-respect is letting go of the need for constant approval from others. We often seek validation from those around us, whether it's from our peers, our family, or our colleagues, because we want to feel worthy and accepted. However, this constant need for approval can be draining and lead to a lack of self-trust. True self-respect comes from within. It's about accepting yourself as you are, with all your strengths and weaknesses, and being content with your own worth. When you no longer rely on external approval to feel good about yourself, you create a sense of inner peace and confidence that cannot be shaken by the opinions of others. Self-respect is about embracing our imperfections and being compassionate with ourselves. None of us are perfect, and we all make mistakes. But self-respect means acknowledging our flaws without judgment and treating ourselves with kindness and understanding. It means giving ourselves permission to grow, to stumble, and to learn from our experiences. Self-respect is not about being flawless, it's about accepting ourselves as we are and continuously striving to become the best version of ourselves. Self-respect is the foundation for a healthy, fulfilling life. It allows us to stand tall in the face of adversity, to make decisions that align with our values, and to build meaningful relationships with others. It empowers us to take control of our own destiny and to live authentically without seeking validation from others. When we respect ourselves, we create a life that is in harmony with who we truly are, and we invite others to treat us with the same respect. The more we cultivate self-respect, the more we become the person we were always meant to be. The power of silence is often underestimated in a world where communication is constant and loud. We live in an age where we are encouraged to voice our opinions, express our emotions, and engage in conversation at every opportunity. In some cases, silence is perceived as weakness or an unwillingness to engage. But in reality, silence can be one of the most powerful tools at our disposal. It holds the potential to communicate volumes without saying a single word, and it can serve as a means of protection, reflection, and strength. The first key element of the power of silence is that it allows us to maintain control. In moments of conflict or intense emotion, our instinct might be to react impulsively, whether through anger, frustration, or hurtful words. This reaction, however, is often driven by an emotional impulse that may later lead to regret. Silence, on the other hand, offers us the space to pause and gather our thoughts before responding. By choosing silence in such moments, we prevent ourselves from saying things we may not mean and create an opportunity for a more thoughtful, measured response. In essence, silence becomes a shield against rash decisions and enables us to respond with clarity and intention, rather than being swept away by emotion. Another powerful aspect of silence is its ability to communicate boundaries without confrontation. In a world where we are often bombarded by others' expectations and demands, the act of cutting someone off or choosing silence can send a clear message that we are not willing to tolerate disrespect or negativity. By not engaging in unnecessary drama or pointless arguments, we are silently reinforcing our boundaries and signaling that we value our peace. This doesn't always require us to voice our disapproval explicitly. Sometimes, the most powerful message is the one left unsaid. Silence in this context becomes a way of protecting ourselves from the toxicity that can drain our energy. By choosing not to react to negativity, We demonstrate that we are not willing to engage with people or situations that don't contribute to our well-being. Silence also offers us the opportunity to observe and understand others more deeply. When we remain silent, we are not just withholding words, we are creating space to listen. It's in these quiet moments that we often gain the most insight into the thoughts, intentions, and feelings of others. By resisting the urge to speak or defend ourselves, we allow others to express themselves fully, without interruption. This can lead to a deeper understanding of their perspectives, needs, and desires. In relationships, whether personal or professional, silence can be a tool for empathy and connection. Rather than rushing to fill every gap in the conversation with our own words, we can use silence as a way to create meaningful dialogue, listening actively and absorbing what is truly being communicated. In addition to fostering empathy, silence is an effective means of self-reflection and self-awareness. When we choose to remain silent, we create the mental space necessary for introspection. The constant noise of the outside world can cloud our judgment and obscure our inner wisdom. Silence, however, allows us to turn inward and connect with our thoughts, emotions, and intuitions. It offers us the opportunity to step back and assess situations from a broader perspective, free from the distractions of external influences. In this silence, we can reconnect with our core values, reassess our goals, and make decisions that are more aligned with our true selves. It is in the stillness that we often find clarity, understanding, and the answers to questions that might otherwise go unanswered. Silence is also a means of asserting strength and confidence. In situations where others may be attempting to provoke a reaction or engage in conflict, the refusal to react can be a powerful statement of control. By choosing silence, we signal that we are unshaken by provocation and that we do not feel the need to prove ourselves through words. This kind of response requires a deep sense of inner strength and self-assurance, as it demonstrates that we are secure enough in ourselves not to be easily rattled. The more we practice this kind of silent strength, the less we find ourselves caught up in petty disputes or the need to justify our actions to others. Silence in this sense becomes a form of silent rebellion, a way of rejecting the pressure to engage in unnecessary drama. Silence can also be a catalyst for personal growth and transformation. In a world that often demands constant action and achievement, it can be difficult to slow down and simply be. Yet it is in these moments of silence that we can truly recharge, reevaluate our path, and realign ourselves with our purpose. In times of silence, we create the conditions for growth as we allow ourselves to rest, reset, and rediscover our passion and direction. It is in silence that we often experience breakthroughs in creativity, problem-solving, and decision-making. When we quiet the noise around us, we invite inspiration and insight to emerge, guiding us toward new possibilities and opportunities. On a broader scale, silence can be a powerful tool for maintaining personal peace and balance. In our fast-paced, overstimulated world, we are often pulled in countless directions between work, relationships, and societal expectations. The noise of this constant busyness can lead to feelings of overwhelmed stress and burnout. Silence offers a refuge from this chaos, a space to breathe, relax, and regain our equilibrium. By incorporating periods of silence into our daily lives, we can restore a sense of calm and balance, allowing us to move through life with greater ease and clarity. It is through silence that we cultivate the peace of mind necessary to navigate the challenges of life with grace and resilience. The power of silence lies in its ability to empower us to take control of our emotional responses, protect our peace, listen more deeply, and reflect on our true selves. Silence is not the absence of communication, rather, it is a deliberate and purposeful choice to engage with life in a more mindful, measured way. By choosing silence, we gain access to a deeper form of understanding of ourselves, of others, and of the world around us. In a society that often values constant talking and external expression, silence becomes a radical act of strength, clarity, and self-respect. It is in silence that we reclaim our power, protect our energy, and ultimately find the peace we seek. In conclusion, the power of silence is one of the most underrated forces available to us in a world that is constantly demanding more noise, more opinions, more reactions. Yet, it is in choosing silence that we can gain the greatest clarity, protect our peace, and assert our strength. Silence is not about avoidance or passivity. It is an active, intentional choice to create space for reflection, self-respect, and meaningful connections. By mastering the art of silence, we can preserve our emotional energy, maintain our boundaries, and respond with wisdom rather than impulse. When we choose not to react, when we choose to cut off negativity and toxic influences without engaging in endless battles, we create a foundation of emotional freedom. Silence allows us to understand ourselves and others more deeply, to protect our mental well-being, and to foster relationships based on mutual respect rather than conflict. In times of challenge or provocation, silence becomes a tool for maintaining control over our emotions and actions, enabling us to act with purpose and intention, rather than being swayed by external forces. Silence empowers us to live authentically and in alignment with our values. It is a means of preserving our inner peace, cultivating self-respect, and strengthening our resilience. The more we embrace silence in moments of tension, the more we refine our ability to navigate the complexities of life with grace and clarity. In a world that is often loud and chaotic, the quiet strength of silence becomes a powerful way to stay grounded, true to ourselves, and free from the noise that seeks to drown out our inner wisdom. Choose silence not as a form of withdrawal, but as a powerful statement of your ability to remain centered and in control of your life.